Imagine a civilization born from sand and sunlight, a land where stone monuments defied time, where kings were worshipped as gods, and where a single river shaped the destiny of millions. For over 3,000 years, ancient Egypt stood as one of the most powerful and enduring civilizations in human history. While other kingdoms rose and collapsed, Egypt endured. Its armies marched across continents. Its monuments pierced the heavens. Its ideas echoed into eternity. This is the story of ancient Egypt, how it rose from scattered villages along the Nile into one of history's greatest superpowers. From humble beginnings to imperial dominance, we will uncover the secrets behind Egypt's extraordinary rise. If you're fascinated by history, power, and lost worlds, like this video, subscribe, and join us as we journey back in time. Every great empire begins with geography. Egypt's true power did not come from kings or armies. It came from the land itself. At the heart of Egypt flowed the Nile River, the longest river on Earth. Each year, like clockwork, the Nile flooded its banks, depositing rich, black silt across the valley. This transformed barren desert into some of the most fertile farmland in the ancient world. While neighboring regions struggled with drought, famine, and poor soil, Egypt thrived. Wheat, barley, flax, surplus food meant population growth, specialized labor, and the ability to support massive building projects and standing armies. But the Nile did more than feed Egypt. It unified it. Stretching over 4,000 kilometers, the river became a natural highway. Boats sailed north with the current and south with the wind, linking communities from the Mediterranean delta to the rocky cataracts of Nubia. On both sides of the river lay vast deserts, natural walls that shielded Egypt from invasion. Protected, connected, and nourished, Egypt developed in relative peace. This geographical miracle laid the foundation for everything that followed. Our story begins around 6000 BCE. At this time, Egypt was not yet a nation. It was a mosaic of small farming villages, nomadic groups, and river communities clustered along the Nile. Over time, agriculture improved. Irrigation systems were built. Pottery, tools, and early forms of writing emerged. Social hierarchies formed. Trade networks expanded. By 3500 BCE, two distinct regions had emerged. Upper Egypt in the south, centered around Hierakonpolis. Lower Egypt in the north, dominating the Nile Delta. They were culturally similar but politically separate. That would soon change. Around 3100 BCE, a powerful ruler emerged. His name was Narmer, also remembered as Menes. Legend and archaeology tell us that Narmer conquered and unified Upper and Lower Egypt, creating the world's first great territorial state. The famous Narmer palette depicts him wearing both crowns, striking down enemies, asserting divine authority. This was not just conquest, it was the birth of Egypt. Narmer founded a new capital at Memphis, strategically located where Upper and Lower Egypt met. From here, a single pharaoh ruled the entire Nile Valley, collecting taxes, organizing labor, enforcing law, and commanding armies. For the first time in history, Egypt was one. From 3100 to 2686 BCE, Egypt solidified its identity. Pharaohs were not merely kings. They were living gods, divine intermediaries between heaven and earth. Their authority was absolute. Religion shaped every aspect of life. Ra, the sun god, symbolized order and creation. Osiris, lord of the afterlife, promised resurrection. Ma'at, the cosmic balance, governed truth and justice. A complex bureaucracy emerged. Scribes recorded harvests. Officials managed granaries. Priests maintained rituals that were believed to keep the universe in balance. Trade flourished. Gold and ivory flowed from Nubia. Cedar timber arrived from Lebanon. Lapis lazuli traveled thousands of kilometers from Afghanistan. Egypt was growing rich and powerful. Around 2686 BCE, Egypt entered its first golden age, the Old Kingdom. This was the era that built immortality in stone. Pharaoh Djoser commissioned the Step Pyramid of Saqqara, the world's first monumental stone structure. Designed by the architect Imhotep, it redefined architecture forever. But the true symbol of Egypt's power came later. At Giza, Pharaoh Khufu built the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Standing over 481 feet tall, composed of more than 2 million stone blocks, it remains one of the greatest engineering feats in human history. Contrary to myth, these monuments were not built by slaves, but by skilled, organized workers supported by the state. Entire towns existed to house, feed, and manage them. Egypt's bureaucracy was astonishingly advanced. Viziers, scribes, overseers, and engineers coordinated vast projects with precision. Militarily, Egypt expanded into Nubia, securing gold mines and trade routes. Fortifications rose along the borders. By the end of the Old Kingdom, Egypt was the dominant power of its region, wealthy, stable, and feared. But no power lasts forever. Around 2181 BCE, disaster struck. The Nile floods failed. Drought followed. Famine spread. Central authority collapsed as local governors, known as nomarchs, seized power. Egypt fractured into rival kingdoms. This was the first intermediate period, a time of chaos, civil war, and suffering. Yet Egypt would rise again. Around 2055 BCE, Pharaoh Mentuhotep II reunified Egypt. The Middle Kingdom restored stability, reformed governance, and strengthened the army. Power was centralized. Local elites were brought under control. Art and literature flourished. Works like The Tale of Sinuhe reveal a more human, emotional worldview. Egypt expanded once more into Nubia, building massive fortresses like Buhin. Trade with the Levant intensified. Irrigation projects expanded farmland. Egypt became richer but also more exposed. Around 1650 BCE, foreign invaders known as the Hyksos swept into northern Egypt. They brought new technologies, horse-drawn chariots, composite bows, advanced bronze weapons. Egypt fell, but this humiliation sparked a transformation. In 1550 BCE, Pharaoh Ahmose I expelled the Hyksos and reunited Egypt. What followed was Egypt's greatest era, the New Kingdom. Pharaohs became warrior kings. Egypt expanded aggressively into Nubia, Canaan, Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia. Queen Hatshepsut ruled with intelligence and vision, focusing on trade rather than war. Her expedition to Punt brought immense wealth, and her temple at Deir el-Bahari remains breathtaking. Then came Thutmose III, Egypt's greatest general. Often called the Napoleon of Egypt, he led 17 military campaigns, crushing enemies at the Battle of Megiddo and building an empire stretching from the Euphrates River to deep Nubia. Gold, tribute, slaves, and exotic goods flooded Egypt. The peak came under Ramses II, 1279 to 1213 BCE. He fought the Hittites at the legendary Battle of Kadesh, one of the largest chariot battles in history. Though a stalemate, Ramses turned it into propaganda victory, carving his triumph into temple walls. Monuments rose everywhere: Abu Simbel, Karnak, Luxor. Egypt dominated diplomacy, trade, and culture across the ancient world. But even empires fade. By 1100 BCE, internal conflict, economic strain, and invasions by the Sea Peoples weakened Egypt. Fractured again. Foreign powers followed: Assyrians, Persians, and finally Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. Yet Egypt never truly died. This legacy lives on, in calendars, in medicine, in architecture, in our understanding of power, belief, and civilization. From a river valley to an empire, ancient Egypt proved that geography, unity, and ambition can shape history itself. Thanks for watching. Who is your favorite pharaoh? Subscribe for more cinematic journeys.